Welcome viewers to the Heart of the Matter. This is the TV ministry of Guiding Light Assembly. Today we're talking about Slum2School, a program founded by Orondaam Otto from Port Harcourt, which actually provides education to children living in slums, especially Makoko in Lagos State. Orondaam, this is since 2012 that you set up this program. Tell us about it. How did it all come about?
Okay, it's a pleasure being here. One amazing program I've always loved. And I think it's finally, good to be seated with you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Slum2School used to be a community development project, when it started in 2012. And today it's an organization. We're now Slum2School Africa.
Okay.
So we've built Slum2School from a project to an organization which is registered and also, working in several communities.
Okay.
It started in 2012. And back then, I was posted to Lagos for my National Youth Service program. And I was working in a bank.
Okay.
But prior to that, period, I've always been passionate about social development and community development. I've always been passionate about doing something about the problems we find in our society and not just condemn and criticize the government for, things that are not working right. And so I've been, involved in several projects from health to people development trainings and HIV and AIDS and cancer education, a whole lot of projects across Africa.
Yes.
And I had traveled to a couple of countries to also help, in social development. So it's always been my passion.
Okay.
And we know we have lots of challenges and lots of problems here in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And getting myself into Lagos during my National Youth Service, I expected, or I had this belief that Lagos is a city which is, devoid of out of school children and fully developed, and unfortunately I got to find out that several communities, just as, it was back then in Port Harcourt and in several other parts of Nigeria and Africa and across the world, we had lots of children who were out of school. So going to work in the morning, I get to see kids on the streets, helping or trying to source for ways
begging, menial jobs,
or cleaning your windshield, it was just pretty horrible. And you get to work, you're watching the TV, CNN, because I was working at the bank, one of the, one of the best banks in the country, and for me back then as a core member, that was really fulfilling, because we had lots of core members who were really idle, either teaching in a school or in the local government or even looking for a place to serve. And we were a few of us selected to work in such reputable, organizations. And for me, it was basically a dream come true.
Wow.
And for lots of people, it was because we were also well paid, back then. But for me, I found myself not feeling so fulfilled. Because you're watching CNN and you're seeing Africa being projected in a very bad light, and you see,
so there's a conflict in your mind. I'm earning goodwill in the bank, but there's all this suffering out there in the street.
And not just the suffering. You can see that you're not maximizing your potential.
What you can do.
And so for several months, I would say I was traumatized.
Wow.
You get to work, you're trying to do stuff, and you know that this is, at every time they show Africa or Nigeria on the international media, it's something bad. If it's not a child dying, it's some corruption. If it's not that, it's some health challenge or even education, poverty. There were lots of issues, and so at some point I had to make a decision that I was going to quit my job, at the bank, and see how I was going to get to solve most of this problem. But before making that decision, there was an event that really struck me. And that was the first encounter I had with Makoko community. Going across the Third Mainland Bridge, it was a huge traffic that evening, and I was in the public transport, and I got to see this community just beneath the bridge. And the life within that community, or what I could see, was really of interest. I could see children on canoes, some pulling on the water. It was just surprising for me, and somehow I found my way, and I was really very curious and adventurous, and I found my way into the community. And getting to that community, I was totally stunned. Out of every 5-6 people, there were about 2 or 3 children, most of them without clothes, looking so haggard, and they were really happy, living where they live.
Yeah.
But I could see something. There was a conflict. These kids are happy, but they're not getting the best. Most of them were out of school.
Yeah.
A huge number of them are still out of school.
Yes.
And so it struck me, and that was one of the pictures that kept traumatizing me whenever I was in the bank. I'm here sitting down and working, and these kids are out there without having an opportunity to go to school. So I had to make that decision to quit my job in the bank.
But I want to ask you this question, because the Bible says, Matthew 19:14, suffer little children to come unto me, theirs is the kingdom of God. Sounds like your passion was ignited deep. You use a very strong but powerful word, you were traumatized. And then you came to a point of decision. You gave up a well-paid job in the bank and you said, I'm actually going to go and serve and help children get what they need. Now, at that juncture, you must have been thinking, my goodness, where's the money going to come from? How did you solve that equation?
I have always believed, and somehow I find myself, always advising the other young people. While I was doing my national youth service, I was the class governor for the Millennium Development Goals.
Okay.
So I found myself in a position of authority where I was always advising other young people on, okay, this is how we should go about it. And most people always complain, how do I get money? And I always tell people, just go. Money shouldn't be a challenge. And even in the bank, we're about 180 core members who were posted to the bank. Yes. I don't want to mention the name of the bank, but across, across the state and several other states in the states in the southwest. And I was also made the class president during our training school. So, when there were lots of challenges within the community of core members working in this bank, I found myself also advising and encouraging others. So for me, I've always found myself at that point where I never let challenges weigh me down. Okay. And I always believe that once you have a vision, God makes provision. Absolutely. And money has never or would never be a hindrance to anyone attaining or achieving his or her dreams. Yes. So for me, I was not really scared about the uncertainties. I knew there were definitely going to be challenges, and they've always been challenges.
So faith just drove you. Yeah, you had a calling, and you said, "I've got to do it. God will provide," and you went for it.
There's no time, to share lots of the challenges that we had gone through. It was so crazy. It was at some point I was almost regretting, was this a mistake? But God has extremely been faithful. I can't explain the level of faithfulness that a whole lot. Today, we have over 600 children in school. Wow. And back during my national youth service, after I had quit my job, it came with lots of challenges from friends and even my family who felt that I had gone mad or some witches had already succeeded in
taking over your
so it came with lots of pressure from different places, financially, And so one of the greatest successes, that was really one of the propelling factors that brought Slum2School as a project to where we are today, was the fact that, after I had left the job, it was like a full job, full-time job at that point. Yes. Every other day we get into the community, because I had lots of friends who also shared this passion and wanted to volunteer. And I'm naturally a people's person, pretty friendly. So I had lots of friends who I could talk to, and they would, come on board. And so every other day, we were in this community doing advocacy visits and talking to them. And the first success was the fact that, after about 2 months or 3 months, we were able to fundraise within our social media space. Friends, families, uncles, aunties, individuals who caught the vision at that point. Yes. And we were able to get 118 children who were never in school into schools. Okay, talk about that. So what did you do? You bought them uniforms, school bags, school books? We got schools. You found them schools? Exactly. We provided school supplies, all they needed in schools, and eventually got them enrolled in schools. And there was a huge enrollment ceremony. We got them into 3 schools. Fantastic. That was a huge success. In fact, I was awarded as the most outstanding core member in Lagos State, and I got the Lagos State Honors Award. And that was the first award. I never did it because I wanted any recognition. But today we've gotten over 20 local, international awards, from even the presidency and several international organizations. Fantastic. And that has brought lots of recognition and lots of, will I say, it's given us that courage and determination to know that this is this is a worthy path. This is something that's, is appreciated and of value. Because these days, what people really, encourage and what's attractive to people are the things we see on the TV, and things like this, most people really would not want to have.
Yeah, because things like this are actually sometimes very quiet and nobody knows about them. So what we're going to want to know more as we go to a break now is how people get to know more about this. I'm sure you have a website, maybe their contact numbers, even how can they themselves get part of this program. And I want to get more in the nitty-gritty about what exactly it's about. So viewers, thank you so much for watching with us so far, learning about Slum2School, this amazing program that's bringing education to the slum children of Lagos. I will be back in a short while. Thank you. Welcome back to the Heart of the Matter. We're today talking with Orondaam Otto, speaking about Slum2School, an amazing project that he set up, providing education to some slum children in Lagos, Nigeria. So Otto, we were talking earlier on about, 118 kids in your first wave. So what does it cost to send one of those children to school in a year, 2 years, 3 years, their whole education? If I, for example, in my humble means wanted to help, how much would I need to bring to support you in that program?
Okay, and to answer that question, it's pretty simple. To get a child to school for a year costs about 30,000 naira, which is about, it used to be $200, but things have changed. But
about $150.
Yeah, but the process of getting one child to school, takes a lot.
Okay.
We've developed a unique, in what we call an integrated operational cycle that involves about 8 to 10 different stages and steps to get.
Tell us about those stages.
And that's basically the operations of how there are lots of questions people will always ask. How do you get these kids? Where do you get them from? How do you select them? How do you get the schools? It's something that will take over an hour to explain. But the bottom line is we get communities. We know these communities have their challenges, they are disadvantaged. And we have series of programs we organize to get the parents to form a union, kind of a parents forum. We have the youths who are being educated. We form what we call community-based volunteers. We do series of advocacy programs where we sensitize the entire community. We have a period where we call the profiling phase, where kids and caregivers, because in most cases these kids do not have parents.
They're street kids.
Most of them have their parents. Most of them are orphans. Most of their parents could be, drug dealers or something. Most of them could be living with their elder siblings or grandparents, or So we profile these kids and find out those who are extremely vulnerable. Because in most cases there might not be schools to get them into. There might not be resources to even get them into schools. So. In some cases, our resources are limited. We could want to just send over, say, 200 kids to school, and we have over 700 who are applied. And so there's a series of issues that we have to go through.
Sometimes you actually have to say, no, we can't help you. How does that impact the kids or the families or who get turned out?
And these are because there are lots of issues.
Yes.
In some cases, availability of schools,
Okay.
the capacity to get these kids into school. Say
Yes.
you have 3 schools,
Yes.
and you can just admit 200 kids into
Yes.
the 3 schools.
Yes.
You know, and you have 600 children who have been profiled.
Okay.
You know, so we have to look for those who are extremely vulnerable. So take, for
Yes.
example, you have a family who has about 7 children.
Yes.
You know, you have to look for those who are, say, the first child is 8 years old and she's
Yes.
never been to school. The second is 6 years, she's never
Yeah.
been to school. They have a set of triplets.
Yes.
They are all 4 years old.
No chance of going to school.
You know, no chance. You know, so you have to look for the kids who are most vulnerable in
Yes.
such a family. So you might take the first 2 and give other families the same opportunity. So it's a huge process. And one of the greatest successes we've had, the fact that all what we've been doing, or majority of what we've been doing,
Yes.
have been volunteer driven.
It's a great thing you're doing, and it's even more amazing that you have volunteers. You said from 25 different countries all chipping in to do this. Do you get any kind of support from government?
We believe so much in collaboration.
Yes.
You know, and I've always said that we are never working against the government. Of course,
not. Yes.
for you to be a child in a state like,
Yes.
say, Nigeria,
Yes.
you know, Nigeria is a state.
Yes.
For you to be a child, you're a child of the government. First, you're a child to your family, then a child of the government.
Yes.
And that's why in most situations, the government takes responsibility to provide education.
Yes. Okay.
You know, but this education most times are not really free. You know,
Yes.
because parents still have to provide lots of other support.
Sure.
And that's where the problem is, because
Okay.
in most cases, the parents or the caregivers do not have the resources.
So it's essentially a financial challenge of maybe the lower income groups.
Yeah. So one of the things we've done, or one of the things we've been doing, is collaborating with the government. So
Yes.
right now we have about 3 government schools that we've adopted. You know, and we're trying to ensure that we can support the schools and build them to
Yes.
be model public schools.
Fantastic.
And so we recently just set up an e-library.
Okay.
In one of the schools. In another school, we set up a computer lab, and the
Okay.
computer lab has been adopted by the state government as a computer development center for about 18 schools. You know, and so these are huge collaborations we are
Yes.
working with the government.
Yes.
But financially, no, we don't get financial support from the government because one of the things, even corporate organizations,
Yes.
you know, we believe so much that as individuals we can create so much impact, and everybody who's part of the organization needs to be recognized as someone who is making an impact.
Okay.
You know, and so we have our volunteers who are so proud that they are contributing to the success of the development of those children. We are also working on building a school.
Yes.
It's
Wow.
called the ARC School.
Fantastic.
And
Okay.
it's a huge project.
Okay.
You know, and so we want to see, because in most of the schools we've adopted, or even in most of the schools around the community, you might never find the space to get one more child. And so we still have thousands of children, and I mean thousands.
Yes, who
You
need
might,
help.
you know, someone might say, how do you get one child who's not in school?
I read a statistic somewhere that about 10 to 11 million children in this country are out of education. And they're the ones, as you said, they're street kids, they are doing menial jobs, they're begging in the street. So there's clearly a massive imperative to do something even more about it. And you're clearly leading the charge out there. Now, you talked about going for a fundraising round. If people listening to this program, watching this program today are touched, and I'll be surprised if they're not, and they want to contribute, how do they go about doing that? How will they even know when the next fundraising round is going to be?
We have our corporate office here in
Okay.
Lagos. We also have our school offices where we work, our community offices,
Okay.
and we basically we are so active on social media.
Yes.
So you can find us on any of your favorite social media platforms, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn.
And of course, all that information is scrolling on screen right now, so people can actually see.
It's so simple.
how to
Just
reach
go
you.
on, you know, at Slum2School.
Okay.
Slum, SLUM, number 2, school.
Okay.
Or the website's slum2school.org, slum2school.org.
All right. Okay.
And you can get all the information, or you could basically call us and schedule a meeting.
Fantastic.
You know, we've had lots of corporate organizations who
Yes.
always want to either, you know, to get their staffs to volunteer,
Yes.
or support a particular project, or
Yes.
sponsor some children to school.
Yes.
So there's always a way. You know, we can be part of what we do. One of the most interesting ways in which individuals and even children have
Yes.
been part of what we do is by
Yes.
pledging their birthdays.
Yes.
So we had a little girl whose mom said, you know, she came visiting
Yes.
with her mom for one of the program and said she wanted to pledge her birthday and celebrate her birthday with the kids. You know, and not it didn't just stop there.
Yes.
You know, she got her class to come, you know, down to school to celebrate, and most of the parents were so interested that they even, you know, said, I want to sponsor a child, I want to sponsor 5 children.
There you go.
You know, so anybody can be involved. You know, you mustn't be a master's degree holder.
No, I mean, you said it before, to sponsor a child for a year is 30,000 naira. Today's rates, a little bit under $50. A lot of people can afford to do that.
Of course.
So, you know, we'd certainly encourage people to go and check out your website and call your numbers and tweet you or go on Instagram, because this is something we must support, especially when you look at our country today. You know, we've just gone through elections, we're trying to rebuild, you know, and as we said, there's a whole generation of people who are being socially and financially disenfranchised. You know, you've certainly stepped up and answered the call. You've gone with your passion, and you've been bold enough to do something about it. I think many more like you should actually do it. Now, one final thing I want to touch on before we wrap up is, you know, it's only been, what now, 3 years you've been going?
Yeah, 3 years.
But you sound like you've done a lot. Can you point to any examples of children who've gone through the program and where they are today? Any so-called success stories at this point?
Of course, we've had lots of success stories, and basically these success stories are the things that keep us going.
Yes.
You know, it's really amazing. And our successes are not just the children, but also the volunteers.
Absolutely.
You know, it's been so amazing that, you know, like I said earlier on, we've had over 4,000 volunteers. You know, and most of these volunteers, just by volunteering with Slum2School, have had scholarships to go, you know, have had job opportunities, have met and formed unions. You know, it's been so amazing. And even back on the field, you know, we've seen children who were never in school, and like we're basically focused on primary education, basic education. You know, and it's pretty inspiring because these were children who were never in school, and most of them could not even communicate. You know, that's one of the challenges we have. You know, that most of the communities where we are, take for example a community like Epe, you know, where you have to travel by water to get across over an hour to get into such a community. And most of these people do not communicate in English. You know, so it's a huge challenge. A place like Makoko, you know, where they do not even speak Yoruba, you know, they have their local dialect, and that's where our community-based volunteers come in. You know, we have series of success stories. Even the community-based volunteers who are youths, you know, most of them had basic education, but they couldn't go to the university, and so we get these guys to form a kind of community or kind of group, and they work with us as volunteers in the community to support these children. And we also have series of programs we organize to support the community-based volunteers.
Like, for example?
Yeah, like last year we trained about 30 of them on basic skills, how to make shoes and how to make bags using Akara, and how to make, you know, beads and jewelries. And we have a couple of them who are really successful, who have, you know, taken it to the next level and who are making profit out there. They couldn't go to school, and someone, there's a girl who is currently, you know, getting into the university, and that was basically because of the sales she had made and saved up money. You know, so success stories are basically, you know, one of the things that have continuously inspired us. You know, and as an organization for, you know, this is 3 years. It seems like we've been doing this for over 10 years. You know, but within the last 3 years, I could say that we've had a whole lot of ups and downs, and we've had a whole lot of, you know, successes, you know. And that's basically what we're trying to, you know, to achieve, to ensure that every other day we have new success stories, and we can't do it alone. And that's why we get all, you know, everyone, you know, young people, volunteers, the elderly, corporate organizations to come on board and be part of what we're doing, because we believe that by collaborating, we can definitely create more impact.
Orondaam, it's been great talking to you. We're going to have to stop it there, but I think that's a great place to stop. You can't do it on your own. Viewers, you've heard this powerful testimony today of somebody who answered the call and didn't just listen, but actually took action. He obeyed a passion that is God-given, and he's doing a God-sized assignment right now in the slums of Lagos, particularly Makoko, Ekpe, and other places like that. You've heard the information about how you can reach out to Slum2Schools, and we really hope that you will all join. The Bible in Proverbs 22:6 says, you know, train a child up in the way he should go, and when he grows old, he will not depart from it. Education is so important, especially from this spiritual standpoint. We have a generation of children out there, many of whom are struggling to get into school, and they are socially and financially disenfranchised. We need to help this generation come out of that problem to have a better Nigeria tomorrow. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'm hoping you're blessed by this program today. God bless.